What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends College Football Podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on as always. What's up, Dustin?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. And we got my Uncle Dean back on. Good to have you, Dean.
Yes, thank you, Alex. It's good to be with you and Dustin. It's really such a great thing to have someone to talk college football with.
Absolutely. And we're getting into my favorite part of the season. The games get better and more hype and more anticipation. We can't wait for Michigan, Ohio State tomorrow, as well as USC Notre Dame, a bunch of good games.
Yeah, there really is. It's surprising how many good games are coming up this weekend.
Yeah, yep. I'm gonna be watching them all. Now looking at the numbers, it has Georgia number one, TCU two, or Ohio State two, TCU three, and Michigan four. All the undefeateds at the top four. I mean, for anyone second guessing the numbers early in the season, it all is making sense now, huh?
Yeah, I think we've warned them from the very beginning that, be patient and pay attention because, the cream will rise to the top,
Yeah.
and it proves it so in the listing.
Dustin, what do you think of TCU ahead of Michigan? TCU at number three, Michigan at four. They're all undefeated, the top four. What do you think of TCU sitting there at number three ahead of Michigan?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the strength of TCU schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they had beat like 4 or 5 ranked teams. I can't remember. I think it's four. And Michigan this year, I believe they've only beaten one ranked team, and that was Penn State. So to me, it makes sense because of the strength of schedule.
Have you seen a decent amount of TCU games this year? Because I have not.
I I have, and let me tell you, they play some close games, but TCU is going to be dangerous come playoff time. If they can win the Big 12 title, and we'll find out who they play after Kansas State tomorrow. They'll either play if Kansas State wins, they'll play the Wildcats, and then if Kansas pulls off the upset, they'll play the Texas Longhorns. So we'll find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, Dean, what do you think of TCU being there? I mean, do you think they can hang with, the top four teams?
I think they've proven that they can. I mean, they seem to want to play from behind. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why that's their MO, but they seem to be able to respond to any kind of situation they've been in. So I mean, um, I think the pollsters and the committee, I don't think they really like TCU that much. I think they would like to see them lose and get out of there,
Yeah,
honestly. But they can't. They got to put them in there because they keep winning.
yeah.
And
And
Well,
then,
I agree with Dustin. Uh, Dustin, I mean, I agree 100% that it's their schedule. If you look at the numbers, the number wise, they're barely behind Ohio State.
yes.
Everybody's well behind Georgia, but those next three are kind of tight.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on what happens this weekend, who knows what could happen there?
Go ahead,
you,
Dustin. You have something?
yeah. So you are correct on that, Dean. Is the committee is would love for a Big 12 team to miss the playoffs
Yeah.
for the simple fact that they want to get two SEC schools in there, and they want to try their damnness for that to happen.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I see them, trying to sneak LSU and Bama up in there. But in my opinion, if USC takes care of business, how can you keep USC out? You know?
absolutely, I mean, they would be a one-loss Pac-12 team, but again, though, Alex, it comes down to the committee for some reason respects the SEC more than anybody else,
Well, they
and I
favor
mean,
they favor the SEC, and
yeah,
you can see it, showing up here. Like the numbers doesn't have, LSU 7, Bama 9, and the playoff committee ranks them higher, 6 or 5 and 7. I just don't think, Dean, do you think LSU deserves to be, top 5 the way the college football playoff has them? With 2 losses, I mean, I would think USC and Clemson should both be higher.
Well, as you can see, the numbers say that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious to the numbers that um, those two teams have a better, uh, I guess, results than LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the numbers has LSU at 7 and Bama at 9.
Yep.
So, um, I agree that there's a lot of bias still with the SEC, and I can't figure out why they think LSU should be up that high, um, and but they do. I mean, across the board. I mean, the committee has them number 5.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck?
And I mean, if you look at that, for example, LSU got absolutely slaughtered by Tennessee, and Tennessee just got slaughtered by South Carolina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's like it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how they're doing their best, but again, let's not count out the loser of Ohio State, Michigan still, because if that's a close game and we have some chaos, I think they might get 2 Big 10 teams in there.
that's
Yeah, that'd be
feasible. Yeah.
that'd be
Michigan
interesting.
really respect Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, you think it has to be a close game, right? It has to come down to the wire. It can't be a blowout and get both teams in, right?
I do, for the simple fact that because of like the one loss teams. Let's say USC beats Notre Dame, which I hope it don't, but it's very possible. Then you can't leave out a one loss conference champion to a team that didn't even make the conference.
Yeah. Dean, that's got to factor in, right? If you win your conference, that's got to play a major role.
It's got to mean something. It should mean something. But you think about it, if Michigan does lose to Ohio State, um, that still is a better loss than what USC has, which was
Mm-hmm.
against Utah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and then Clemson, their loss was to Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
So who has the biggest blemish, or shall I say the least blemish?
Yeah.
Oh,
That would be Michigan.
Yeah.
But they don't think that way. I mean, that's when you get people with their opinions and biases, they're not going to necessarily think that way. And you're
It's
probably right, Dustin. It's got to be a close game, or else the committee will say you're out.
it's
Um,
true though. Common sense would say Ohio State is the best team, of those that of those losses.
well, they're favored,
Yeah.
so
what's gonna come?
Go ahead.
What is gonna come down to? Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Dean. Um, what it's gonna come down to is Michigan's strength of schedule was so weak, their non-conference, that they would have to win out to be in.
I mean, but the numbers has them pretty high. I mean, it has them right there with TCU. I mean, I don't know. Dean made a really good point talking about how if Michigan loses to Ohio State, or if Ohio State loses to Michigan, either way,
yes.
isn't that a better loss than anything that USC or Clemson can say?
Absolutely.
So, I don't understand. Then what are we talking about here? Obviously TCU needs to finish the job, and USC needs to finish their job and win their conferences. But This is where it gets really interesting because now more than ever you're going to see the biases, and this is where the numbers plays a huge role in that.
Yes. Yeah, if TC happens to lose their next game, their history.
Yeah,
They don't have, even though they've got a pretty good resume of what they've won, that if they lose to, what is it, Iowa State,
is that
um,
right?
I mean, that is just going to devastate them. Even if they come back and beat, Kansas State in the conference championship,
Yeah,
because Kansas State isn't that high.
yeah.
So, TCU has to win out to stay. And I think they know that.
I hope they do. It's kind of a cool story seeing them up there, right?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've liked TCU going back to the days when they had LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, but you're going back a ways.
Yeah. But I mean, Dustin, you gotta like to see the Horned Frogs. I remember you talking about them a few weeks ago and how you were impressed by them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Sonny Dykes, he's always been a good coach, and the fact that he's at a Power Five school again and he's doing very well. I mean, if TCU gets in, they have the quarterback. Not only do they
Yeah.
have the team, but they have the quarterback who can win it all. I mean,
Yeah.
Max Duggan is that guy.
Yep. So if they win out, they have to be in. You can't put a one loss. Do you think there's any chance they try to put a one loss team in there ahead of TCU if they're undefeated? That would really frustrate people.
Like,
It caused a riot down there in Texas.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, I don't think they're that foolish. If TCU is undefeated, I don't see the pollsters or the committee uh, lowering them at all.
think
And
Uh,
that's
about this though.
go ahead.
See, first of all, I don't see LSU beating Georgia. Secondly, I I wouldn't sleep on the Iron Bowl tomorrow. Okay, Cadillac Williams has them boys playing pretty good. So
Yeah, well, Auburn.
yeah, you know he has Auburn playing pretty good over there. So I wouldn't sleep on them upsetting Bama possibly, and then the discussion can stop right there.
Well, according to the CFP, they have LSU ahead of Bama. Oh yeah, but you got LSU losing to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would take care of that. What about the debate? I mean, that's where this gets interesting is the one loss debate. Whoever loses to Michigan and Ohio State game tomorrow versus someone like USC, right?
Hmm.
That's going to be the big conversation. Dean, how are you feeling about USC Notre Dame tomorrow?
well, the game with USC and Notre Dame now is very, very meaningful to USC
Mm-hmm.
because now Notre Dame has some value. They're in the top 15 or whatever. So now beating Notre Dame is a feather in the cap.
Yeah,
So I mean that would benefit USC. That would be a good win. Uh,
that's going to be a big game. A lot on the line. This is one of the more meaningful matchups USC Notre Dame that we've had in a few years, isn't it?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
so the teams above them, um, you know, like LSU. I mean, their next game is A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not going to be a quality win, even if they do beat them. So what?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. And
Yeah.
then to go in and then have to go play Georgia, good luck.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know why they think LSU is uh, supposed to be so high.
Yeah, but like you said, Dustin, I think that'll work itself out. LSU's going to play
Yes.
Georgia. They're going to drop. Um, Dustin, how you feeling? USC Notre Dame tomorrow. That's a great game, huh?
Oh man, it's a rivalry game for a reason. I mean, they call it Notre Dame Michigan rivalry, but nothing hits home like Notre Dame USC.
Yeah.
This is national championship histories. These are Heisman Trophy winner histories. The Bush push, all that kind of stuff. And the fact that USC has their playoff hopes a lot, on the line, they're going to come ready to play.
Hmm.
And at the same time, this is a prove it game for Marcus Freeman. I mean, if you can upset two top 5 or top 10 teams after the kind of start you had, that that says a lot. You know, uh,
I think, tell me if you agree, I think this is the biggest game since the Ohio State game. Like, this is a huge game for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, right?
absolutely, it has to be.
Rivalry game, a lot on the line. And of course, who wouldn't want to play, spoiler to your one of your biggest rivals? So if you can beat USC, imagine the bragging rights after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a quick question for Dean. Dean, who do you give the edge in that game to?
Well, first of all, it's out in California,
Hmm.
so that's one edge, I think. Um, USC has everything to gain by winning the game. Notre Dame doesn't have everything to win by winning the game. So the attitudes of the players are going to make a big difference. Um, are the players for USC going to look at this as a real opportunity to make the playoffs and play like it? And is Notre Dame going to go in there thinking, here's our opportunity to really put it to a hated team?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what teams show up and how they play. That'll tell you everything.
Yeah,
And
he,
it's a big game for Lincoln Riley too, right? It was probably, I mean, probably his biggest game at USC, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt his legacy, I think, for the first year. Um, if they happen to lose to Notre Dame, that is not a bad loss.
Yeah.
Other than the taste in the mouth,
Yeah.
I mean, that still is a pretty good uh, schedule of wins. So, I mean, I don't know about USC whether they will have their minds set correctly or not. We'll see. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's
can
why
I
we play the games, huh?
Yeah.
can I say a hot take real quick, Alex?
Yeah.
Notre Dame rushes for over 250 yards tomorrow.
250?
USC's defensive line is ranked in the top 80.
Okay.
Uh, they've
If
been
you can do
averaging.
that, that's how you win the game is if you can control, if you can run the ball and control time of possession and keep USC off the field, that's a recipe.
Yeah, in these last 5 games, they've rushed for over 200 yards rushing. So it's
Wow.
very it's very possible. And I mean, USC has an absolute stud back there at quarterback though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Caleb
why
Williams is a man.
yeah, that's why I've been kind of you know, hyping USC this year. Ever since the beginning, I thought that, the Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams combination was gonna be good. But Dean, I mean, we can sit here and say it's not a bad loss to lose to Notre Dame, but I bet the USC fans and boosters and all that, they're gonna overreact if they lose that game.
Well, they will go bonkers, that's for sure. And
Yeah,
I agree with that. But I think USC, you look at the quarterback position and you know who has the advantage there.
yeah,
So, I mean, we have the team that controls the line of scrimmage is going to be the team that wins the game.
yeah. And I mean, hasn't Notre Dame been kind of dominating that?
So far, the
Yeah,
last few times anyway.
yeah. It's gonna be a great game. How about Ohio State, Michigan? I mean, how are we feeling about that? You guys think? I'm leaning Ohio State. They're at home. They should take care of business and get it done. They're going to be ready to go after losing to them last year. Do you guys agree? Ohio State should take care of business.
Well, uh, first of all, to me, Alex, it comes down to how many snaps Blake Corum gets.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah. Yes.
First of all, he's their best player, and that is not even questionable. That's not debatable in my opinion, just because the man is in the Heisman running. And secondly, it's in Columbus, man, and I'm not trying to throw no controversy out there, but I don't trust the referees in Columbus. So I'm gonna go with the Buckeyes. Plus, I think this is getting beat last year, 42-27. CJ Stroud has that taste in his mouth where he's pissed off.
yeah. Well, it's a big game for his college career. You want to go out the right way.
If he plays well in that game, he's the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I
man.
haven't heard, Dustin, what have you heard about the health of the Michigan running back?
So I heard that he has he missed a couple of practices this week, but they weren't like he was limited. But Jim Harbaugh says that he's looking pretty good. So I don't know. That's they haven't really used contact in practice with him much, so it could be a different story when it comes down to him suiting up and all that.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna get the touches. I think they're gonna, try and hope that he can give them. They're gonna need him. If he can't go, if he's not 100%, I don't see Michigan winning. I mean, it might not be competitive if Blake Corum can't carry the load.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if Ohio, even if he plays, if Ohio State makes Michigan be one dimensional passing the ball,
Yeah.
Ohio State wins pretty big.
How does Michigan's defense rank against those weapons they got on the outside and CJ Stroud?
Well, that's the thing is Michigan's defense is actually ranked like 3rd or 4th in the country in overall scoring defense. So
Yeah.
they're not bad, but they also haven't played receivers, the caliber of Jackson Smith and Jigma, Marvin Harrison Jr., and you know, Julian Fleming, guys like that. So we just don't know.
I think Michigan's goal is going to be keep it low scoring, right?
Yeah, you do not want to get into a shootout with that kind of offense. They're averaging 47 points a game.
Yeah. Keep it low scoring. Keep it an old school battle. What do you think, Dean? I mean, Michigan. Yeah, Michigan's not going to win a shootout with who's that quarterback? JJ McCarthy or something?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys you're right on there. I think you're right. The key is whether or not the running back is going to be uh, going to play at all, or how long he plays.
Yep.
It's all going to kind of revolve around him. If for some reason he can't play, or if he gets injured again, or he's out, I mean that's got to be a psyche downer for the
Yeah.
whole team. And you know how emotional uh, college football is,
Yeah.
and how just the way your mindset is makes all the difference in the world on how you perform. And
Yeah.
when you're depending on one guy that much, um, you know, you just got to hope that he's going to be himself.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of Kenneth Walker's impact with Michigan State last year, and I can't imagine, if he
Yeah.
couldn't go or whatever, Michigan State was probably getting blown out.
Yes.
So you gotta have Blake Corum. I expect him to be able to go. How effective he'll be, I don't know, but I think Michigan has to give him touches. He's gonna want to play. Michigan's gonna want to play him. That's their only shot, right, Dustin?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I made my decision, Alex, because the game is in Columbus.
Yeah.
That is massive. And oh, by the
Plus,
way,
the timing of Corum's injury couldn't be worse.
yeah, and Michigan has not won in Columbus in 10 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, streaks are meant to be broken, but I just think overall Ohio State's a better football team.
What if though? What if Harbaugh pulls it off? What if Michigan pulls the upset? He beats Michigan State and Ohio State in the same season, goes into Columbus, gets a win. What would that do for Michigan going into the playoff?
That would have to give them tons of momentum. I mean, they would go in as the 2 seed. They'd play whoever is number 3 because to me, I see Georgia running the table. I don't see nobody even putting a footprint on Georgia's resume.
Yeah.
And then eventually Georgia's my eventual national title or national champion as repeats. But I mean, it would be huge.
Yeah. What do you think, Dean? I mean, are you rooting for any team in this game or just hoping for a great game?
What an unfair thing to ask. That's like, what do you think about the Notre Dame game? You're just not fair, you know. Um,
Well,
but
I'm the same way as a Michigan State fan, so yeah, I feel it.
yeah, being on a podcast like yours, I feel like I shouldn't just throw my own feelings out there. That really doesn't matter. Everybody's got feelings and their their favorite guys and everything like that. And I don't like to push who I think um, is highest on my list for favoritism.
Yeah,
But it's hard to say. Ohio State has been beaten at home. Um, Michigan can do it. Whether they will do it is the question. And again, it goes back to how healthy the running back is.
yeah,
And I think that's the key. If he's healthy and does well, I mean, they're got a good shot at it.
yeah.
Oh, let me mention this too. It's actually for both sides because I'm not sure if Travion Henderson's playing tomorrow.
Okay.
I
Oh,
haven't heard. I haven't heard anything. Last I knew, he was injured, but and Mayan Williams too. So both teams are kind of dealing with backs that are, not 100%.
Well, that would kind of even it out, but still, there's no back in college football that's better than Corum, I don't think.
Oh no,
yeah,
no, no! I agree. Corum is that man.
Yeah. So, I mean, him playing is a big advantage.
yeah,
So, and so I just hope that they all are. I hope they're all healthy. I'd like to
yeah.
see a good old fist fight out, not physically, but mentally. I'd like to see them really go after each other.
We can't say that after the Michigan State game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But you know, at the end of the day, I agree. I dislike both teams, but man, as a college football fan, there is nothing better than to
Yeah,
see a rivalry game where two teams just beat the hell out of each other
yep,
and you know, the best man wins.
yeah. With a lot on the line, like you know, nothing beats, especially in this area. Nothing beats the rivalry Ohio State Michigan, especially when they're both contenders.
right.
Yeah, sure.
How about Florida State tied up right now after one?
Yeah, go Gators.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know that anybody but people in Florida are paying attention to that game. Honestly, I mean, I pay attention to it only because its interest as far as the numbers goes.
yeah,
Well,
And
see,
and right now, Florida State in the numbers. They are, where are
On
they
the
here?
top,
19.
yeah.
In Florida, I don't even know if they're even on this front page at all.
So, can I say something though, man? Kudos
Yeah,
to Florida State and Mike Norville. He turned them around this year. You know, they are have a chance to go 9-3 after an abysmal season last year.
Yeah,
yeah,
you gotta give them credit. You gotta give them their kudos. Um, I don't mean to mean mouth either of those teams, really. I mean, Florida's on a downhill slide, and the state is on an uphill climb. And
yeah,
so, you've got to give them credit for that.
yeah. Florida State's been down so bad, for a while now. It's nice to see them at least being relevant. And yeah, Florida's down 42nd on the numbers.
Yeah, yeah, that's not too good.
um, I mean, are you excited for the Iron Bowl tomorrow? Is that gonna be? Do you think it can be competitive? Always a fun game, always fun to watch. Hopefully Auburn shows up and brings it.
I think in a normal atmosphere with what Auburn has gone through this year, you would probably have to say, well, that shouldn't really be a contest.
Yeah.
However, the last few games, the players are hyped. I mean, they're playing their butts off for Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
And so they like it's like we said before. I mean, it's an emotional game.
Yeah.
And man, can you imagine if Auburn was to do something crazy and knock off Alabama? I mean, can you imagine? They TP the downtown area every time Auburn wins. They would, I mean, usually it's just a tree or two. They would paper the whole place. I mean, every street light, every building, every tree, even every person standing there would have toilet paper draping from them. And it
I
would be the one of the hugest, the biggest uh, accomplishment by Auburn in decades.
Yeah.
Is that in Tuscaloosa or is it in Jordan Hare?
It it's played in Alabama's home field, so I mean that's where they're playing, but that doesn't stop the hometown from celebrating.
Oh
Yeah.
no, no, no. I was just saying advantage wise, but you know what? I feel I have this feeling that if you're going to knock off Alabama, now is the perfect time.
Yes,
I
Yeah.
mean, they've been struggling with teams that they shouldn't, and I I think this is Auburn. You win and you're bowl eligible. So
yes,
you know,
yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, they got a lot to be playing for here. It's not just pride; it's an opportunity to go to a bowl.
Selfishly, I'm gonna be rooting like crazy for Auburn because I've been a big fan of Cadillac Williams for a long time. He's a great running back at Auburn. I loved him in the NFL. I didn't know he was even on the staff until he became the interim coach. And if they win, I mean, they should go ahead and take the interim tag off of him and just give him the job, right? If they beat Bama.
Ah, you're a troublemaker, aren't you?
I'm a
they
big Cadillac Williams fan. That's all I know.
I
well,
just, I, I don't think they'll get to that point, but at least they have to keep them just for the
Yeah,
players' sake.
yeah.
I've so let me say this: I want Auburn to win because that would put Alabama at 9-3, and if Notre Dame knocked off USC, that would put Notre Dame at 9-3. For some reason, I want to play the Crimson Tide in a bowl game.
You want Bama?
Yeah, I want to finally get over that hump, and what way would be better for Freeman to prove that he's a guy than knock off Saban in a bowl game.
Like you said, if you're gonna do it, this is the year to do it, right? Bama seems to be down a little bit. They're still competitive, but yeah, I mean, they're struggling against games that they should be winning.
It would be a very interesting matchup for sure.
Yeah. But can I? How about Matt Rule, Alex, and going to Nebraska?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, he's much better fit in college football. It didn't work out in the NFL. Dean, do you think Matt Rule is a good fit at Nebraska? Nebraska's trying to find that guy to turn it around there.
Yeah, I think that it's a good opportunity for the program and the coach. He's proven that he's a winner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Nebraska's got to do something. I mean, they got to pull in somebody that they can really believe in, um, that has proven themselves. So I think that would be a pretty good match.
Nice. And then what isn't the rumor right now is Lane Kiffin, right, to Auburn?
Oh, geez, here we go again.
About to say that.
Lane Kiffin just lost his two last ball games. I mean, I think three in a row.
Wow.
And you're telling me that Auburn now wants a guy that is right now on a losing streak with a
Yeah.
team that at one time was considered to be maybe a playoff team.
Yeah. I saw that loss to Mississippi State.
I mean, you're kidding me.
I don't. I don't think Saban's gonna leave Mississippi just because
Who?
Auburn.
Kiffin?
Or yeah, sorry. Gee,
Get,
goodness gracious, I got Nick
get Sa-
Saban on the mind tonight.
yeah, get Saban out of your head.
Okay, Lane Kiffin, I believe, will not leave Ole Miss for the simple fact that you have already established your players there. At
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, if you go, you have to recruit your guys, rebuild. This is a long term type of thing, and we know for one, Lane Kiffin's not a long term coach
Yeah.
Yep.
because he seems to flip flop everywhere. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, this job needs to go to a guy who is willing to want to rebuild, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, perfect guy, Matt Canada out of Iowa State. I've always mentioned him. I think he would be a great candidate.
I know you like him. I know you like that Campbell too, right?
Yes, I do.
So
Well, the thing you got to keep in mind, guys, is uh, here in Alabama, it's important that you fit into the good old boys.
mm-hmm.
You've got Harson didn't make it because no one ever accepted him. Um, because he was a Western guy. He was out there in the wilderness. And, I mean, he didn't fit according to them. I still think he'd have probably done all right if they'd have supported him, but they didn't. So, I mean,
Um,
if you pull in someone else from somewhere else, um, the first thing they're going to think about is what what kind of connections is he going to have? How is he going to recruit here in the South? How is he going to fit in Alabama? I mean, those are big obstacles for coaches to try to get over.
Yeah.
well, I got one more sneaky name for you guys, and
Uh-huh.
he's already the Alabama offensive coordinator, and he's looking for another head coaching job. Bill O'Brien.
I was just kind of thinking that. Bill O'Brien came in my head. That's interesting.
Just keep an eye on that name because he's looking for another head coach, and you want somebody with experience. Bill O'Brien did pretty well at Penn State until he, went to Houston. You
Do
know,
you think he do you think he's trying to go back to the pros or he wants to do another college gig?
I mean, he's more of a college coach in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he'd be better. with a college gig, but that came to mind because he's already in Alabama. They've accepted him, as the Alabama offensive coordinator. I know Auburn's different, but they would love for somebody with the caliber of Bill O'Brien to go there because he's a proven winner. Harsin came from, Boise State, where that's a group of five school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he didn't really have the respect because nobody knew who he was.
Right.
If you get a guy like Bill O'Brien in there, I think that would be huge for Auburn.
And it would spice up the rivalry even more. It'd be a nice addition.
Yeah, another Saban guy beating Saban.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what the records are for any of the coordinators becoming
Yeah.
head coaches, and they never beat the boss.
Kirby did.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
one
all
guy.
right. Yeah, I give you one
Yeah.
out of how many?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Belichick. It's the same way.
So yeah, I
um,
mean that's not to say that he wouldn't be a good choice. Um, he does have some kind of recognition and a proven record. Um, although this year falls on him also. With the lack of dominance and so on. So
mhm.
I don't know. I mean, they have Bryce Young. I mean, golly,
Yeah.
any team that had Bryce Young would be in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah.
So why Alabama isn't there is because they screwed up a couple of games that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's on both sides of the ball. It's not only offense. I mean,
Yeah,
Will Anderson Jr. was supposed to be the best player in college football this year, and he's really nowhere to be seen that much. Dallas Turner supposed to be the best safety, or the best safety in college football. He's really been nowhere. So
Yeah.
it's both sides of the ball, but I just think that I have that feeling something might happen tomorrow in Tuscaloosa.
Um. So I'm ignorant on this, but is there any way? I know Bama's got 2 losses. They're seventh in the CFP. Is there any way? Can they get to the SEC championship or no?
Nope.
no,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because any way they could run the table because any Bama Georgia is always scary. So it's gonna be
yeah,
Georgia LSU is already set.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna go well.
LSU, LSU, in my opinion, is going to get their teeth kicked in.
I think so. Georgia's gonna be tough to beat by anybody. Um, Dean, do you pay attention to the Apple Cup?
the Apple Cup.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love it.
Washington State.
Yes, I mean there isn't any area or any conference that I'm not interested in.
Yeah,
I love rivalries and stuff
Amen.
like that. Yeah. Again, that's going to be a good game.
yeah. I mean, living in Seattle for a short amount of time, you realize how big of a deal it is out there, the Apple Cup.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
those teams have been strong at times, and
yeah.
that game has been just like going to war. I mean, it's just you know, um, so, and I don't think that rivalry will fall off no matter what their records are.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be again, it's going to be another real contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I I love the quarterback, contest between Delora and Michael Penix Jr. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
I just love. I might be weird, but I love the late kickoff, 10:30 p.m. kickoff. I love that because it's football going until like 1 in the morning.
I love football going all the way until 5 in the morning.
Yeah,
I just
you
love
need to
college
you need to watch some Hawaii football for that to be the case.
yeah.
football. Can't even find them on TV, even if you tried.
um, what else? I mean, you guys have anything else you want to bring up and talk about? We covered most
Oh,
of it.
another good rivalry game that I think is always fun. And actually, two of them. We actually have Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's going to be a dogfight as well.
Mm-hmm.
Look out for the Beavers in Corvallis to upset the Ducks.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Uh, the old Civil War. I mean, they don't say it no more, because of cancel culture. But anyway, it's gonna be a very, very fun weekend of football, man. I'm excited. I'm home all day to watch football because this is the last week of the regular season, and I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one more that I want to point out that might turn out to be interesting.
All
And
right.
that is the South Carolina Clemson game.
Oh yeah,
Man, that could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
where's that?
What's that?
Where's that game at?
I think it's Death Valley.
Ooh,
I'm pulling it up now. I'm trying to find it.
you know what? Because
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
New.
South Carolina is dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, you saw what they did to Tennessee. So I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta respect them. I mean, Clemson better have their hats on straight.
Speaking of Tennessee, it sucks about Hendon Hooker.
Yeah,
That
it does.
major injury for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his Tennessee career is over. He's going to go ahead and jump into the draft.
Can Tennessee? I mean, this is probably the closest opportunity they've had in a long time. Like, can Tennessee ever get it together and can be a contender, make it to the playoff? Just seems like even when they're good, they're not quite good enough.
Well, that's the thing. Alex says Josh Heupel, I think, is the guy who's going to turn Tennessee around.
Okay.
Uh, Rocky Top will be back, and because their recruiting classes say pretty good. I mean, they were top 10 last year. I think they're moving up the board this year so far, even though early signing day is 3 weeks away. But yeah, I like Josh Heupel as a head coach.
Any chance? I know this is going to be a long shot. Any chance Georgia is sleeping when Georgia Tech comes into town? Any chance Tech keeps it close?
No,
I think everybody would probably fall off their couch if it was a close ball game. I mean, how many points you think Tech's going to get?
I don't know.
I mean, I think the spread's like 36 points.
Yeah.
so but can you guys imagine the chaos that would break out in college football if Georgia lost to Georgia Tech, Ohio State, or one of them two had to lose, Notre Dame upsets USC, Clemson falls to South Carolina. Can
And
you just
Auburn
imagine the
and
chaos?
Auburn beats Bama. Yeah.
LSU loses to A&M.
I mean, seriously, just imagine the decision that you would have to have right in front of you because at the end of the day, Georgia losing to Georgia Tech is a very bad loss.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be.
So, man, I would love for that kind of chaos to break out. I don't know about you guys, but as a diehard college football fan, let's have it.
I root for chaos every week. If someone's on upset alert, I'm excited. I'm that type of fan.
Yeah, I just love to see upsets unless it's my team is involved in
Yeah.
it.
Which,
Yeah.
that happens more often than not.
Yeah. But I think we'll get a couple, one or two upsets. I do this weekend. And it's just going to be about who.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, there's going to be one team that's not going to be undefeated after this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be down to at least three and maybe two. Who knows? Maybe all of them. Oh, maybe three of them will lose. I mean,
So,
you never know.
question for you, Dean. Who I know that you don't like to answer questions like these, but who is your eventual Heisman winner?
Oh my goodness. Oh. Well, there for a while, I was thinking that Bo Nix was going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then he stumbled. Um, and so, I mean, I think it's kind of wide open. I think the guy that you ought to consider as being the best guy in college football would be Corum.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying tomorrow's game to me, whoever wins tomorrow's game is the eventual Heisman winner.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't argue with that.
if Corum, can play through injury and put the team on his back and lead him to a win, I mean, the Heisman's become, right, like a quarterback award. I would love to see a running back get it.
Oh yeah, or I mean, another dark horse. What if Caleb Williams? God, I hope not. Puts up massive numbers against Notre Dame because man, that kid is so slept on. He's an absolute stud.
Yep.
Yeah, they are talking about him. The other guy that they were talking about until tonight was the quarterback at North Carolina.
They missed that field goal. He's done.
He's out now. I mean, so there's not a lot what you would consider elite uh, standouts this year. I
Yeah.
just think there's a lot of real good players, but Corum to me is just a standout.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
my pick at the beginning of the season, I was way off because I thought Texas would have a better season. I picked Bijan Robinson, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, you're silly for even picking anybody early. I mean, why would you do that?
I like to have
Dustin,
my
You're just asking for criticism from Alex.
oh
Eh,
trust me.
Alex isn't gonna sleep on that. He's gonna look for that opportunity.
There's there's plenty of that from Alex, but he keeps me on my toes. So
um, I'm hoping that next week we can have former USC quarterback Todd Marinovich to come on. So maybe ask him about the USC Notre Dame game. I wanted to have him on last week, but it didn't quite work out.
Oh, that's too bad. What that would be a very interesting time to spend.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna keep trying.
Yeah, don't give up on that one.
Yeah.
oh yeah, quick question, Dean. So when it comes down to the Army Navy game, who do you usually like to root for?
Oh man, I don't care what their records are. I love that game.
Me
Yeah.
too,
I make
man.
a special effort to watch that game. It is just so unique, and I don't even care what the score ends up being. I just love to watch the guys out there from those two institutes go after it. They're so
Mm.
even. They're usually their rosters are very similar. I mean, it's a great game.
Yeah, I agree. Makes for some great college football.
Yes, and either one could win. I mean, it doesn't matter what their records are or how they're rated or anything like that. It's just a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I see it as at the end of the day, you know, it's bigger than football because when they're done with school, they go out and serve our country. So
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's triple option against triple option, so they all know what's going on. So I mean, it's just it's great to see the servicemen uh, be in such a game and get the honor they do. They have their own day. And I think I
Yeah.
think I think they're the only ones going to play on that day.
they deserve it.
Yes, I
That
agree.
that damn fullback dive. Oh my god, I hate that play in the triple option.
Yes.
Well, good stuff. I mean, I feel like we covered everything. I can't wait for tomorrow. Sit back and watch football all day long.
Oh man,
Yeah, I
football.
am too. I think it's going to be another fun. It's going to be a funner weekend than many of the other ones because there's
Mm-hmm.
just so much on the line.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be um, from early morning to late night enjoyment.
Hey,
I go ahead.
I don't know if Alex is down, but you have me hyped and wanting to come next fall down to watch an Auburn game. Okay, I want to see some trees get TP'd.
We'll have to try to do something like that. See some
Yeah,
Auburn.
we'll have to work something like that out one of these days. I mean, this year would have been the best year to get tickets because uh, there until the last three ball games. I mean, you could get a ticket for almost nothing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that now that there's been a little upswing and there's the big deal about getting a new coach in here and everything, there's going to be a lot more interest, and tickets are going to probably be a little bit more difficult to get. So I hope we
We'll see.
haven't missed our opportunity.
Yeah. We'll
On the
start saving
news,
up now. Try and go, nothing's better than ranked versus ranked football,
Yeah.
I, I'm just reading that. What do you guys think about uh 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 South Florida being close to a deal with Deion Sanders?
Ooh, I like that.
He
Well,
he.
again, there's going to be a lot of talk about a lot of things. Dion is a big draw, and I'm sure that he wants to step up.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a tough decision based on whoever offers him, you know, the best opportunity.
I would
So I
I would
mean,
like
I wouldn't have a problem. I think that would be good for South Florida. I mean, it would be very fitting
Well,
for him to be there.
I'm I'm actually seeing now it's down to Colorado or South Florida. He can choose either one at the moment.
I would go to South Florida, but I feel like South Florida is just going to be a stepping stone, right? Go there for a couple of years and then try to go somewhere like Florida State.
Well, Colorado, you have the chance if you can have a good season to make the college football playoff. South
Yeah.
Florida, it'd be a lot harder.
Yeah, Mel Tucker had them, pretty damn good a couple years ago.
Uh, hey, here comes Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see about Dion. I still think that Auburn has the most to offer to him.
Yeah.
Whether or not they'll really pursue him hard enough to get him, I don't know.
I would love to
Um,
see that too.
I just hope they don't bring in a loser from uh, Ole Miss.
Yeah. I've
Like
never been a fan of Lane Kiffin. I always said I liked Monty a lot better, his dad.
Yeah,
that is so mean, Alex.
Monty
Uh,
is gee, Lane is just a spoiled brat, you know what I mean?
how, how about one more thing? Imagine this, right? You got Deion Sanders as head coach and Cadillac Williams as your offensive coordinator. Can you
Yeah.
imagine the kids you could bring in with just that
Yeah.
those guys because they're hyped and they're gonna make kids want to play for them.
Cadillac's gonna have a lot of recruiting power, there, and then Dion has, absolutely. So
he's already changed the mind of a couple of recruits
yeah,
that they've decided to come to Auburn because of him.
yeah,
So whoever comes in here better hang on to him.
yeah, absolutely. But well, good stuff as always, man. This was a lot of fun, and we'll have to, keep doing this through the conference championships and then the playoffs. Can't wait.
Yeah, there'll
Thanks
be
as
another
always.
shakeup in the numbers after this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Appreciate you always making time to come on, Dean.
Well, I appreciate it very much. I really liked uh, that you've even included me in this. It's
No,
uh, it's a thrill to talk with people who love college football.
yeah,
I appreciate it very much. Thank you, guys.
no, it means a lot. You giving us, the numbers system to talk about and help promote the podcast. So you're doing us a big favor too at the same time.
Yeah, it's a good partnership. The three of us, I think, The Three Amigos, huh?
Yep, Three Musketeers. Good stuff as always, Dustin.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, Dean. I mean, we're coming to the end, and definitely gonna miss you coming on the podcast throughout the spring and summer. But never know. Maybe we can do a couple summer shows and get us ready for the preseason.
There's always opportunity to talk college football. It's just not at the moment anything is happening. So, I'm always interested in college football all year round. If they could play it year round, I'd be watching.
Are
Yep.
you into recruiting at all? Like, do you follow up on the recruiting for, like, let's say, like Notre Dame or Auburn or anything?
I do. I don't really. I'm not in deep into it. I'm nowhere near your involvement. Um, you that is your thing. You're pretty good at keeping track of that sort of stuff, which is, I'm actually learning more about that stuff from you, because I'm more focused just on the games and the results of the games, and not so much the personnel.
On the
Um,
field.
and so the part that you bring to it is very valuable, I think, and I learn a lot just from that time. So, I think you kind of got your little place in our family.
Yep.
Thank
Well,
you.
great stuff. Appreciate all the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll keep these episodes coming out. And have a great week, guys.
Yep,
Peace
you too.
out. Thanks, Dean.
Yep.